Hello everyone, welcome to the session. In this session, we are going to learn how to add a multiple user in Salesforce Lightning as well as a classic experience. So let's proceed and firstly understand what does we mean by add multiple user. So in Salesforce, the process of creating and managing multiple user accounts on the platform is known as a multi-user creation, and it is a valuable feature for an organization that needs to provide access of a sales force to multiple employees or a user at a time. It depends upon your Salesforce addition that how many users you can add in total, and you can quickly add up to 10 users at a time to your organization max to max. One more thing that you need to keep in mind that you can only add the user that have same type of license while you are adding a multiple users in a Salesforce. So now let's proceed and we will discuss how we can add a multiple user in Salesforce Lightning experience. So for this, you firstly need to log in into your Salesforce account by providing your credentials. Now you need to check whether you are on a Lightning 1 or a Classic, and if you are on a Classic, you need to shift to the Lightning experience by following the procedure of the shifting. And once you reach the Lightning experience of a Salesforce, you need to redirect yourself to the main home setup, and you can see that it is visible on my screen. The similar setup you need to be located. If you are by default landing to the home page, you need to click on a gear icon, and from this gear icon you have to open up the new setup. Once you are on the setup, on the left hand side you will see a quick find box, and here you need to be search of users. So type here users, and once you type the users, it will show you some search result, and under this user section you will get a users options. Click on it. Once you click, it redirects you to the next page, and here you need to click on this add multiple user button that is located on the top, as we are going to create multiple users in a one go, so we need to click on add multiple user button. So it will show you the details about the license and how many users you can add. Scroll down and select the type of license that you want to provide to the user that you are going to be added. So for example, here I am going to create up with the chatter external users, and once I click, it redirects to the next page, and here you can see that the number of chatter external user license are a 500, and at a one go max to max you can create only 10 users. You can see that it shows up to 10 boxes, and minimum you can create any of the number according to your choice. Now fill up the first name, last name, email which act as a username, and choose up the profile from the list of the profile. And this profile determines what objective and features user can access. And again, you need to repeat all these steps for the other users. So now let's add up some of the users that we want to add. So here I added three users. The one is the Jack Brown, the next is the Wilson Smith, and the last one is Jack Hump. So I have filled up the first name, last name, email that act as a username, and the profile that I have chosen. Here we have only one option for the profile, so I select this one all for all the threes. Now when I scroll down, it shows me an option of a generate password and notify the user via email. If you want to that, you can click on this checkbox, and finally you need to click on the save button to save or create all these three users in a one go. So when I click on the save, it save up. Here you can see that it shows me an error. Review all error below to correct your data. And here error is that the duplicate username. You can see that here all the three email address I have entered the same. And that's the reason it shows me a duplicate username error. You all know that in Salesforce, in the same org, we doesn't use the same username. So for showing you that this email act as a username, I do that mistake. Now let's rectify it. Now here I change the username from all the three, and now I click on this save button. Now let's see what's happened. So once you click on a save with the correct information, it successfully created a three users in a one go in a Salesforce. So now we will proceed and learn to add a multiple user in Salesforce using a classic experience. So let's see the steps. Now our first step is to log into the Salesforce account with the help of your credentials. Once you successfully logged in to the Salesforce, you have to check that whether you are in a classic experience or the lightning one. If by default you are opened up with a lightning experience, your first step is to shift to the classic one. If you are already on the classic, you can skip this process. And here I shift myself to the classic experience, and once I reached on the classic experience, now the step is that you need to click up the setup option that is located on the top right side. So here I click on the setup. Once you redirect to the setup page of a classic experience, you need to search up the users in a quick find box that is located on the left side, or either you can scroll down to the administrator section, and here we will have a drop down with the name manage users. So when you click on it, it will show you the option of a users. You can choose any of the method and click on the users when you see it. And once you move to the all users page, here you will see a button of add multiple users. Click on this button and it will shows you how many licenses are available for creating up of the user. You can see that while I working with a Salesforce Lightning, it shows me that the chatter external user license are a 500, and out of this 500 I use the three licenses, and that's why it's reduced this license number to 497. So it means it minus up the 3 license from the 500, and now I am only left up with the 497. Now let's proceed, and this time select up the user license that you want to create with the help of this drop down. Now I decided to create up the users that has a chatter free user license, and for this reason I click on the chatter free, and once I click, it shows me up the page where I have to add a first name, last name, email that act as a username, and choose up the profile from the drop down and the role. But here you can see that this role option is disabled because we have chosen up the user license as a chatter free. And you can see that here we have a 10 different boxes for adding up the users, because in Salesforce at a one go max to max we can add only 10 users, and minimum you can add as per your requirement. So now let's add a multiple user by filling up the details. So here I enter up the two users. The first one is Krim Smith and the next is a Ryan Jack Bond. And here I enter up the username, or you can say a email that act as a username for both the user. And you can see that here I have entered up the different username for both, as if you enter the same one you will get an error. And here we have a two types of a profile. So for the first one I have choose the chatter free user, and for the next case I have choose up a chatter moderator user. Now I scroll down, and here I have a option of a generate password and notify user via email. This time I doesn't want to check this, so I simply click on the save button and proceed. And once I click the save, it successfully created up the two users in a one go in a Salesforce Classic. So with this, we have learned to create up a multiple user in Salesforce Lightning as well as a Classic. But now, before ending up this session, I want to show you that how the end user, the whom we have added up to our Salesforce, or get a emails once when we click up the generate a password and sent via email, and the other case also in which we doesn't check the checkbox. So now let's see both of them one by one. So let's see our first case first. So it is the example of the case in which we have checked the checkbox of generate a password and send it via email. So it shows me a message like that. It sends a end user a welcome to a Salesforce message with a username and ask them to verify their account. So when a user click on this verify account, it redirects the user to ready for a new password and asks them for resetting of the password by clicking on the reset password option. So here when the user fill up all these necessary details, he or she can successfully reset their password. But for the other user to whom I doesn't select the checkbox of a generate a password and sent via email, I doesn't get any mail till now. With this, we have completed our today's session. Now we will learn in the next session how to edit a user in a Salesforce.